Well, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank all of you for attending. It's so good to see so many language advocates, and I really enjoy language work and anybody that's associated with it. Um, the land acknowledgements were already done, and so I'm not going to do that. And I would also like to thank ANLC, UAF, CRCD, and I want to say that this is a annotated story. It's a traditional story, and we um, these traditional stories were originally passed down maybe before going to sleep or something, and it was every night. And but now I don't not sure if that happens anymore. Um, Most of the stories in the archives, the ANLA, are very long, and most of them are written only in the language, and they're very complex verbs, and then sometimes they're recorded. So the reason I wanted to do this annotated story was because of that it's no longer being passed down because of language change. And most people's first language is English. And that is my first language too. I'm a Gwich'in language learner, and I've been learning for some time and thoroughly enjoy it. It has changed the way my outlook on life and my identity. And so you can't break those apart. And almost all of the indigenous languages, at least in Alaska, are being learned as second languages. And so one of the things that I work on is second language acquisition. And the U class, for now, we have the first year and second year classes. I think we're going to expand it to the third and fourth years. So that's going to be a lot of work, not my job. So one of the things that I do begin to teach in the second year are some of the traditional stories. I can't go all the way out and teach them all. And also by the second year students, they're pretty much speaking very well. So that's why I start introducing them to the different stories. And I wanted to make the stories shorter so that students can learn what the gist of the story is about. And I really didn't realize that it takes a lot of shortening and just to get the main points out. And but it was a fun process for me. Lots of I had some students who wanted to do this, and they wanted to put everything in there. And so I worked with a student, and I told her, read something and tell me the point of that, what you just read. So all we did then was like shorten it down, and we wrote it in such a way that students in the first and second year classes could understand them. And that's not to say that there's verbs in there that are quite that they haven't had before. So it's a good way to teach at least second year students. During the first and first year class, I mean, the students learn a lot in that class. I mean, like if you came to my class, you would see how much you could learn. But anyway, what I want to do now is that you see this beautiful illustration here. If it wasn't for the lady named Pat Clark, and I think her name is Elizabeth, but she goes by Putt. And she was amazing. Look at this amazing work here. Um, and it doesn't take her long. And one of the nice things about her is that she does research into the background of how we dressed in that time period. And then she took that and then she gave us drawing, and it was real. I just couldn't believe it. It was amazing work. And she works here on campus. I'm not exactly sure where. I know she's worked on Gwich'in books. And so I would like to put a big shout out to her. I should have invited her, because she gets really embarrassed though, because she's kind of humble. But that's really a good talent to have a really good illustrator. And so with that, this particular story is called O Thut. And what we did was I went through the original story, which was pretty long, and then grabbed the points out of there as to what is actually happening. And then Pat is the one that did all the illustrations. And then I should have brought the long book, because you'll see how long it was. But anyway, this story is called Othal, and it's about when the Gwich'in met their first white people, or is that what you call them now? Non-native. And so anyway, and then the encounters that they had and experienced. And it's the first part of the book is written completely in Gwich'in. And this is really good for language learners. And then in the back, very back, there's a English translation. But I don't even bother to put that, show the students that at all. Because otherwise they'll cheat. And you can't really cheat if you're wanting to learn the language. And so, I mean, sometimes I cheated, but and so right now I would like to, it's not all in color, but so this is Catherine Peter was my mother, and she was a linguist, a Gwich'in linguist, and she's actually Dr. Catherine Peter. And then I went through the story, and there's lots of stories. This can be done by in any language. And then you can illustrate them and have them for language learners. So this particular book was in the archive, and some of the stuff in there are real fragile. So you have to be kind of careful when you go in there. So anyway, this is just junk. So this is like the story is called O Thut, and which means grass pants. Maybe they had grass pants a long time ago, but I'm not sure. Maybe they were dancing around with them. Whoops. So this is an introduction, and you can see the references below there where it was. And it's always, I always like to acknowledge people, authors, whoever. And I'm actually writing a book right now, and I'm using a bunch of Gwich'in people, and I put them all in the acknowledgements, even if they just gave me one word. So this one, O Thut on Jik Gwandichi. I told you that I was a second language learner. And the first time I gave this presentation, there were some very good speakers, very highly proficient speakers in the audience. And they asked me, why does it sound so different? And it's because I'm reading it as a second language learner. And then I had someone else in the audience who was a more proficient speaker than I was, and he read it. And then there's those ladies said, "Oh, it sounds way better." So this is Othal, and he's sleeping along the Porcupine River. And it says Han He Din Jinai Ditak. Okay. So he's sleeping. He in his dead sleep here. He suddenly heard people. Hake ai din jinai chijuk na in. So what he did was he woke up and got up. I mean, there's a difference between just like open your eyes first thing in the morning. That's a totally different verb than getting up. And so, see, these are like teaching points. And so he got up and he saw men that looked different. Goki I og et nili sa govinde jiti lur nili. So their hair looked like grass, and their eyes were really I don't know how do you say it? Like you could just look right through them because they were probably blue. And we do have a word for chindelur or something like that, which means light eyes. Dinjinait o thal sa gizu. Pagwacha dat thak kwagil say sa yeah ajrak an gilcha. So the men were not nice to Othal. And they took off all his clothes and they tied rope around his middle. So you can see here like Gilcha. That's a really good word. That's a new verb. So the students hadn't had that. So this is something new. This would be something new for them. Dinjinait othal chujit tegi isnai sa hukegi in ketegi in. Gova shronch ga othal chikuti va athil jigehan. So what happened to see? So the word tegisnai is a new word, would be a new word for the students. And so they threw him into the river. And then, so it really was, they were having a really good time. But Othal was sad because somehow he got separated from his wife. And so that's what he's thinking about, his wife. And so he's thinking that, and that's why he was sad about that. I din jinai gwachak ejit gient in I. Oh, gient in Lee. Oh, thought Vicky I ninjats nil Vicky I da I ha gient So the new words here would be nil air, which is braided, and gien in li. That one would be a new verb for them too. And so what they did was they gave him new clothes. And then his hair was long and braided. And they cut his hair with an axe. What a cool story, huh? I din night o thus ginzi quick one day. Za giat na it ki ko gient in I gient in li o thus ko ach gan dai qua. Yeah, jri ach gehan. So what happened is that the men gave him, they tried to be nice to him. And they gave him tobacco pipe and matches. And then he doesn't know how to use matches or a pipe. So he only knew how to use a flint, because that's traditional in our language. In the next below, it says dinjinai o an hihilha. So adan chan ko o an hilha. So this one gihilha, maybe even o an, and then hilha is another one that they would know about. So what happened is that the non-native men threw away the flint. So that's why you see him thrown it away. And then, Othar, he said, well, I'm just going to throw these matches away. So that's what he did. So this one, is a good verb because it's something that's repetitive in our language. That's something you do every day. And so that's why it says nechinal. So the men cooked, and then Othar ate. I better not look at it because otherwise it messes with my English. Dinji night Othar chojit nagajil. So the nagajil refers to more than two people getting into a boat. And so they went in the boat along with Othar. There's actually a lot going on here. Jit is actually a post position, and you can use it with all kinds of different words. Am I going over? Othar hanjir ne kwe goba gwinchi sa va vanodlit gin he chatan o gogwa. So he lived with these people for about 2 years, and he learned how to speak English, and then he also learned how to write. War and Peace. I didn't even look at those names, Hansel and Gretel. Yerne quite a dije no jitsa atan chokit chokwat je ei dinjiju tsa vanodlit go venjit klite deli. So the klite deli, you can see at the verbs come at the very end. And so that's, okay, so I'll tell you what happened. He went to his house, and he was the first one to have a store. And he translated between the Gwich'in and between the Gwich'in and English. Look, they even cut his hair short. No, it looks like it grew back. The at agwa ai sa shonili niu kwantai sa duye trokit tai dinji nai nakya kinil dekwa. So he found his wife, and he was happy. He lived a long time, and he will never forget the time when he saw the first non-native. But there's some good verbs in here. Ginilde. There's a lot of time that the students use. So agwa ai is another one to have found something. And then this is the translation into English. It gives you the page numbers. But that's it. Kote.
Are there any questions?
Hey, so I am a Denaina Athabaskan Kanaitsi member down in Kenai. Me and Will study, and hearing your story, there were some words that I could hear and understand, but looking at the way that it was all written out, it's just really cool to see how the languages are related to each other. And I know that I probably wouldn't understand everything, but it'd be cool to, spend some time talking to other people who speak Athabaskan languages. So thank you.
Yep, we're all big we're all big a family of Dene.
Masicho, when's your next book coming out? When should I be buying or looking or downloading PDF files?
Well, I'm writing a book right now, but it's probably not as exciting as this one. It's just a book of paradigms for my first and second year students. And then I took under each paradigm or conjugation, I took one of those and put sample sentences under each one. And I had to say that writing that book for non-linguists that's a major challenge for me, because it's just like me writing for, I don't know, someone who doesn't understand linguistics, and to try to say the same thing, but not have all the linguistic jargon in there. So that's what I'm working on right now. And that's going to be, I'm almost done with it.
Woohoo, we appreciate all your work.
Sure, you're welcome.
Anyway, so I should be okay. Oh, the online people. Okay, hi, online people. I have a 5-year-old and she's learning how to read right now. And I was just noticing, looking at that book that you annotated, how important pictures are for early literacy. And even when you're teaching adults how to speak a new language, how important those pictures must be for decoding the language as you're teaching through story. So I just really appreciated those pictures and thought they were really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how many books like that do you have?
This was just an experimental book.
Okay, keep experimenting. That's really fun.
In just even teaching my first year Gwich'in language class, I have tons of pictures. And like you said, the coding, decoding and stuff like that is very important to have pictures. You can't be carrying around a bunch of pictures in your pocket though.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out. I've got some of my English 340 students right here, and we just finished reading Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq.
Mhm.
And as we went through her kind of genre fluid book, there's a bunch of pictures that she's drawn in there. And there's a lot of the concepts of the story that kind of are translated better through the way the image is in the book. So I just think that that's really important. Hi,
Yes.
students, I see you. Who's next?
Are you harassing your students?
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone said it yet, but Othoth is available at the Alaska Native Language Center bookstore. They have a stand downstairs and they should have copies. Masicho.
Mhm.
We have time for one more question, if anyone has one.
I think everybody's getting tired.
Well,
Okay, thank you, everyone.